welcome to the Fantasy Football Units podcast. I am your host, Alex Bruno, here with Jordan Hudson. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing fantastic, Bruno. Do you know why I'm doing fantastic?
Oh, if I could take a wild guess, I would have to say football for 800.
It was for 1,000, but yes.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness, football. I'm so ecstatic about it. It's all day Sunday. You
From the
can't get any
time you
better.
get up to the time you go to bed,
Yeah,
especially for us on the West Coast.
yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, with that being said, make sure you guys get your lineup set either tonight or wake up early and set them Sunday morning. Get those DFS lineups in and get ready to go.
Remember, make sure you got your morning players in your running back or your wide receiver slots. Leave your flex position open for your later players.
Yeah, and for those guys that were questionable, make sure you're reading up on the latest news before you decide to put them in your lineup or on the bench.
And don't make the rookie mistake and forget to check the weather report. Don't be rolling out your wide receiver ones when it's going to be raining, like a downpour
Right.
in Florida or something.
Right. All right. First off, we have some news and notes for you guys, starting with Miles Sanders not traveling with the Eagles to Washington to play the football team.
Oh, the football team. I really do love that name. I don't think they need to pick a mascot, honestly.
No, you don't think so?
No, I really like that name. It's right to the point.
All right. What about Miles Sanders though?
Okay, so Miles Sanders, I think Peterson's trying to see what he's going to get out of this draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
He spent a really high draft pick on Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just going to be putting through physical therapy or rest, whatever it may be, but they're preparing to have him for the rest of the season and not for a couple weeks.
Right. Hopefully he's in that week 2 healthy in that lineup. So next we have Deebo Samuel placed on the injured reserve designated to return list.
Again, I think it's another similar situation. They invested a lot of draft capital into Deebo Samuel, and they want to make sure that they get that in return.
Oh yeah, especially after he finished last season. I'm pretty sure they want that to continue.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
And if you haven't heard, you will now.
Now you know.
These contract extensions that have been just handed out in the offseason, oh my goodness.
I'm going to quote Jalen Ramsey here. They turned the cap space off in Madden and in real life, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you have Dalvin Cook with a 5-year extension for $63 million, Alvin Kamara with a 5-year extension for $77 million, and Cooper Kupp with a 3-year up to $48 million with incentives.
That's a lot of money, guys.
Yeah,
I don't
is.
care who you are. Like, that's a lot of money.
And those three players, as well as Jalen Ramsey and all these other players that got extensions, are well deserved.
Get that bag, boys.
Get it. All right. We have a new segment for you guys today. We have bold predictions for week 1.
Why don't you go ahead and let them know what bold predictions are to us here at the Fantasy Football Unit so there's no confusion.
So a bold prediction is something we believe has, up to 5% of a chance of happening. So saying Patrick Mahomes is outside the top 20 in week 2, that would be a bold prediction.
Yeah, guys, we're not picking these every week to be right. We're
Right.
picking these to give you guys a storyline to show you how it could happen, so you're not surprised if it does.
Right. And my first bold prediction, I have Marvin Jones Jr. finishing top 10 at receiver this week.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I mean, with Kenny Golladay being ruled doubtful, probably out for week 1, that leaves Marvin Jones to be the number 1 receiver against the Chicago Bears. And even though he only played 11 games last year, he had 62 receptions for 780 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, you stat that out for the rest of the year, he probably would have finished top 12 for sure.
Yeah, actually, if he would have played 16 games, he would have finished with 90 receptions, 1,134 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Maybe not 13 touchdowns, but the yards definitely could have happened.
Oh, yeah, I see the yards and the receptions. The touchdowns, I think, he's not usually been that big of a touchdown number guy. That's usually been like Golladay and Golden Tate, but now that Golden Tate's gone,
Right.
But honestly, I see it being a harder road for him to top 10 with Golladay being out because now they can double team Marvin Jones. But
Right.
you got Hawkins in there. You've got carry on. You've got the rookie running back. Like, it can definitely, there's a road to it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have played those 16 games, he would have finished in the top 10, number 7 to be exact.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah, so it's definitely not out of reach in this week's matchup. Last year against the Bears, he had a few good games. He had 40 yards in one game with a touchdown and 77 yards in another game. Both games having a 19-yard reception and a 22-yard reception. So he's definitely going to be a deep target, and Galladay is already known to be a deep target that Stafford loves throwing to. He had 158 yards against the Bears, and with Marvin Jones taking over that spot, and I feel that's very reachable.
Well, what you just said with Stafford throwing him the ball,
Yeah,
he'll actually have Stafford
yeah,
throwing him the ball this
exactly.
year. So I'm a lot more excited than if you would have gave me this bold prediction last year. I probably would have just got up and walked out of the studio.
Yeah, no, but in this week, it's definitely a possibility for Marvin Jones.
Yeah. Um, I'm probably gonna get a lot of beef on like Twitter and Instagram for this one,
Why's
but
that?
uh, Kamara finishing outside of the top 20.
Oh, explain why.
He's going up against Tampa Bay's rushing defense, which was by far the best in the league
That's
last year.
fair.
They
That's
only
fair.
allowed 75 yards a game on the ground. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like 73.8 or something like that. It was less than
Wow.
75. But they had one of the worst passing defense, and Kamara took advantage of that, catching 16 to 17 targets over the two games
As
last
he
year.
would, yeah.
But he didn't find the end zone in either game. Why he had running back 19 finish and a running back 7 finish, not finishing outside the top 20 like my bold prediction,
Close, though.
but very close. He didn't find the end zone either game, rushing or receiving, and they finally got a wide receiver 2 there this year with Emmanuel Sanders. They still have Taysom Hill running out there doing crazy little things.
Right.
They have Jared Cook, him and Breeze were looking really good at the end of the year last year. They
Right.
still got Michael Thomas there. They still got Latavius Murray. They got Ty Montgomery. I mean, they're paying the guy. They're going to throw him out there a couple plays a game.
Right.
So, it's not a very huge road that like a semi could go down, but like
If he
it's
doesn't score a touchdown.
yeah, it's kind of a bike path to it,
Yeah, hiking trail.
So yeah, hiking trail.
So are you saying if he doesn't score a touchdown, it's very well?
No, it's going to take more than not just scoring a touchdown because, like I said, without scoring a touchdown last year, he did finish RB19 and RB7. And that RB7 week, he was like 10 for 10 for 68 yards or something. I can't remember the exact stat, but I know it was 10 for 10 on receptions.
Do you see Latavius Murray coming in right away, taking carries away from him?
Not after they just paid Kamara. Unless they wanted to protect their investment, which
Right.
doesn't make sense in football as far as a running back is concerned.
Yeah, there's
But-
been a lot of things that don't make sense that have happened.
Yeah, like 5-year extensions to running backs. That makes zero sense to me. If I was a GM, I would never give a running back anything past his rookie contract.
So, a Packers GM.
Yes. Well, no, just for the running backs. Just for the running backs. I'm not,
Not
giving
every
up all my
player.
defensive, like, superstars. Like, yeah, I don't want to pay him that much. No.
Nah. All right. We have another segment for you guys. Our players to avoid week 1. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right.
I got QB Daniel Jones from the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
He's a no-go for me this week against the Steelers defense. The black and yellow finished number 3 overall against the pass last year.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Huh?
Because that Minka Fitzpatrick.
Oh, it was a lot more than Mika Fitzpatrick, but they picked off the opposing quarterback 20 times.
20.
They led the league in sacks with 54.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
That-
TJ Watt had a nice 14 and a half of those.
that's not surprising.
Oh yeah. So it's really possible we could see Jones finish with single digits this year. Like he did it last year, he could do it again this year.
Yeah, he's definitely a player to avoid for me almost all season.
I mean, the only thing I'm liking on that side of the ball is Saquon and maybe a little bit of Sterling Shepard.
What about Evan Ingram?
I didn't
Against the
really,
right
I didn't
team.
really keep an eye on him except for 2017 when I drafted him his rookie year, and like OBJ went down, Sterling went down, so he was the only target in New York. I haven't really paid attention to him much because I'm more of a streamer, so I don't. Honestly, I don't have much opinion on it, Evan Ingram.
That's fair. My first player to avoid is wide receiver Amari Cooper. No, I know a lot of people probably disagree just based off his name. They want to say Amari Cooper's a great receiver.
Every other week, he's a great receiver.
Right. And last year against the Rams, he got absolutely embarrassed against Jalen Ramsey, following him around all game with only one reception on 2 targets. And guess what? He'll be following him again all game on Sunday night in LA.
In their new stadium.
Yeah,
Which we need to go check that out, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard it's really nice. Uh, and last year in away games, he only caught 51% of his receptions compared to 77% of his receptions at home. That's a 26% difference.
I mean, I know his road home splits have been pretty bad dating back to the Raiders. I don't know if it dates back to when he was drafted or not or anything, but I know he just has been horrible on the road.
Yeah, maybe he's late to the airport and forgets his stickum at home.
I mean, it's got to be. That's the only thing that explains it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, being a former Alabama wide receiver, I want to have high hopes for him, but like I just don't know why Dallas gave away a first round pick for him. I wouldn't have if I was Jerry Jones, but I wouldn't do a lot of things that Jerry Jones does.
I agree. 100%.
That's a weird man.
All right, your next player to avoid?
Tight end Austin Hooper for the Cleveland Browns. I know a lot of people are excited. They're like, "Oh, he had such a great year last year." He did have a great year last year.
He doesn't have Matt Ryan.
Yes, exactly. In Atlanta, Baker only targeted his tight ends 59 times last year.
Wait. How many?
59.
How many times did he throw the ball?
530-ish. I think it's like 534, 535.
That just doesn't add up. Dude.
No, that's 10% of the. That's like less than 10% of the time.
Yikes.
He got 97 targets last year.
It's a lot.
Atlanta. That only happens to a handful of tight ends every year. Like, unless your name's Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Zach Ertz.
Or any tight end that plays for Atlanta.
Or any tight end that plays for Atlanta now. I mean, I'd be excited about Hayden Hurst this week, but I'm not touching Austin Hooper this week. He's touchdown dependent for me this year, honestly. Not just this week, but this year. Because he's still competing with David Njoku. He's still lurking around the tight end room somewhere. Fourth round rookie tight end Harrison Bryant's been looking really good at practice. Most likely Hooper's going to end up a dud for you this week unless he falls into the end zone somehow. And that's how I'm going to look at him every week. Like, there might be weeks I stream him where I think he has a better matchup.
Right.
But I don't see him getting more than 4 or 5 targets a game for 30, 40 yards with no touchdowns.
Right. Not when you have to compete with OBJ and Jarvis Landry.
Oh yeah, both of them got over 130 targets last year.
Yeah.
It's
gonna repeat.
You're not gonna give those targets to somebody like Austin Hooper.
Right. Yeah. And since we're talking about the Browns, my player to avoid is Nick Chubb. Going against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 1, they're probably gonna play catch up a lot, and it's just not going to look good for the running game.
Oh, yeah, and if they're playing catch-up, that means Kareem Hunt's going to be out there a little bit more than Chubb because of the receiving work.
Yeah, and, that's exactly what happened last time they played the Ravens in the end of the season. Chubb only had 15 carries for 45 yards and no touchdowns. So he wasn't utilized in the game. I want to say he only had 2 targets with 1 reception. Hunt definitely took over that reception total. When he joined the backfield midway through the season, he had over 5 targets a game. So, and he just got a contract extension. That just takes value away from Nick Chubb, and it's just not looking good for Chubb, I think, for the season. But as far as Week 1, it's definitely not looking good.
Week 1, I'm not touching him, especially if I drafted somebody before Chubb. Now, if I drafted Chubb as my running back 1, obviously I'm rolling him out if I drafted him there, but I didn't draft him as my number 1 running back in any league, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I drafted him in Mega Bowl, and then I got a great offer in Russell Wilson, and I want to say, I don't know the name, but a receiver as well. So, and I already had Kareem Hunt, so I'm gonna take that trade.
Yeah, that was a good trade.
Yeah, all right, and we're bringing back a start sit for you guys. First, I will have Gardner Minshew versus the Indianapolis Colts. or Sam Darnold at the Buffalo Bills?
I'll take the stash.
The stash, yeah. Despite being limited with weapons on offense, Gardner Minshew would be the better choice against Sam Darnold.
Sam
Obviously,
Darnold's just trash.
yeah, he's Garbaggio. Uh,
Garbage.
and Minshew is playing at home, so that does give him an advantage. Although the Colts have a good defense, Minshew will find a way to make plays. Last year against the Colts, he had 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but once again, he was limited with receivers, so he's able to do a lot with the little he has.
Yeah.
So,
He's
and
efficient.
yeah, and he's way more efficient than Sam Darnold, way more accurate. He only had a 1.3 interception percentage compared to Sam Darnold's 3.3 interception percentage, and he finished a top 20 quarterback at the end of 2019. And didn't some of those games I want to say he only played half the game for like the first 2 games, something like that.
I'm not 1,000 on that. I know that the man only threw 6 interceptions last year. I know
Right.
he's very accurate. I know that they did not draft anybody. I know they did not go and pick up somebody on free agency.
Right.
This is Minshew's team.
Yeah, and for the people that are saying, they should tank and try to get the number one pick in Trevor Lawrence, I think that would be a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean Trevor Lawrence did not look good last year
Mm-mm.
at Clemson, and we don't know what's going to go on with the NCAA this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even know if they're going to have full seasons and stuff. So whoever's out there telling you that they think Jacksonville should tank, just
No.
don't take their advice on anything.
Yeah, because Gardner Minshew's a good quarterback 2 option in a super flex league. He's a good streamer. If you need a quarterback and he's out there on the waivers.
I mean, if Blake Bortles can take that team
Right.
to the conference championship,
Yeah. He also had
Minshew
weapons.
can take them to the Super Bowl.
He also had weapons and a defense. So imagine what Minshew could do if he had a
The
solid
same
defense.
defense,
Yeah,
exactly.
they probably would have beat the Patriots. And this week I believe Gardner Minshew could finish a top 20, maybe top 15 as a ceiling, and I don't know, maybe could go even further than that.
I definitely could see him going further than that. Does that wrap it up for your start set?
Yeah, that wraps it up for Gardner Minshew.
Oh, you got another one.
I got another one.
All right, well, I'll do mine real fast.
Okay.
Then. DJ Moore or AJ Brown? That's DJ Moore against the Raiders, or AJ Brown against I don't even know who he's playing.
Denver, I believe.
Denver.
Give me some more.
I'm gonna go with some more DJ Moore as well.
Yes, sir.
He's playing at home against against a defense that gave up 33 passing touchdowns last year.
It's a lot.
That's over 2 a game. Just
Ooh.
barely, but that's over 2 a game. Coming off a season where he was targeted 135 times and only had 4 touchdowns, he's due for some positive regression in that touchdown category.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, he's got a better quarterback.
Oh yeah, definitely has a better quarterback in Teddy Two Gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely more than 35% of the balls will be catchable.
Oh yeah.
And only having the 4 touchdowns, like I said, the positive regression's coming, and he's facing off against a defense that's already bad at giving up passing touchdowns.
Yeah, they're atrocious.
I could see him coming down with 7 or 8 catches this week for over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be, might be a shootout because the Raiders have somewhat of a good offense. They do have 2 rookies at receiver, but they could definitely.
Well, they still have Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, and Carolina's defense isn't that great either. So I think it's just going to be a shootout, and that's just going to leave a lot of opportunity for DJ Moore, even Curtis Samuel, but more for more.
more for more, but
Yeah.
I heard Curtis Samuel does have that breakout season this year because I was really excited about him last year. And
Everybody was really excited.
He just didn't do anything.
Yeah, and when you got Christian McCaffrey on your team, obviously the defense is going to be more focused on him, and it's just going to open up.
I think it was more the Kyle Allen throwing the ball thing than it was the CMC. But when CMC's running the ball 200 plus times and then getting another 100 plus targets,
Right.
there's not much others to go around, especially when DJ Moore's got 135 targets.
Right. Yeah, no, that's definitely a good choice to start. For my last start sit, I have Tyler Boyd versus the Los Angeles Chargers or Calvin Ridley versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Um, I like both players. I own both players.
Same.
I drafted Ridley way before I drafted Boyd.
Yeah.
So I'm a little on the fence with this is a really good one. So sell me on who you got.
Yeah, I mean, they're both good. They're both superstar receivers. I just would have to side with Tyler Boyd on this one. Uh,
You're gonna have to do this one good.
all right. I mean, although Boyd has a rookie quarterback in Joe Burrow, I know you're probably going to hate me for saying this, but I think it's an upgrade in quarterback.
Look, y'all always hating on my ginger bros. Like us gingers got to stick together. Andy Dalton, when Dak Prescott goes down, I'm telling you that man gonna win
Oh,
the Super Bowl.
he's the best backup quarterback in the league.
Oh, for sure.
But I
People
think
might say P.J. Williams is, but I don't agree.
nah, he's not proven.
Exactly, not in the
Andy
NFL
Dalton
at
has
least.
been there. He's taken a team to the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
All that. But I think Joe Burrow is a better thrower right now than Andy Dalton.
he's definitely more accurate in the red zone. That's for sure.
Yeah, so he's gonna love AJ Green and Tyler Boyd. You know, with Tyler Boyd being the number one receiver, he finished with 1,000 yards. Even as a number two receiver for half the season in 2018 to AJ Green, he still finished with 1,000 yards. So all that means is AJ Green is just gonna open up the field for Tyler Boyd to get open as well, and they're both gonna feast on defenses, especially with a weaker LA Chargers defense now with Derwin James being out.
Hmm.
It's it's just they might be unstoppable as long as Joe Burrow can get them the ball. And I'm not taking anything away from Calvin Ridley. I love Calvin Ridley. I actually have them both in one league. He's gonna give a good performance against Seattle too. At least I hope for my sake. But I just see Boyd finishing better than Calvin Ridley this week.
I mean, I'm still a little on the fence, but I'll buy into Boyd on any league that we co-own a team.
Oh yeah, Boyd is guys, people. Boyd, don't worry about AJ Green. Boyd is still gonna get his targets no matter what.
I was never worried about that. I mean, the man had 4 tight end 1 finishes that 2018 season
With
before,
AJ Green.
before AJ Green went out. So
Yeah.
I mean, had he finished the year, both of them could have finished as low end wide receiver ones.
Right, and if all went well, they could potentially both be top 10 this year.
It could happen. I don't think it will.
No, that'd be another bold prediction.
Yeah, in a different president's 2020 it might, but
Yeah,
not in ours.
right. So we have another new segment for you guys. It is our streamers for week one. For those of you that don't know what streamers are, my good friend Jordan will be able to explain that to you.
So streamers are what me and Bruno actually like to do a lot in our leagues. It's when you go late round tight end, late round QB. So we're gonna be covering 3 streamers every week.
Late
It's gonna
round
be-
defense.
Yeah, well, I don't even touch defenses unless I have to draft them. Like
Or
the
kickers.
the team rules say we have to. I don't even play in leagues with kickers anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Well, except for a new home league, but we're gonna demolish that one anyway. So basically what a streamer is it's a guy we're finding on our waiver wire that's going to get us a good performance. Not the best, but a good, solid performance.
So like how I was saying with Gardner Minshew.
Yes, like Gardner Minshew is going to be a great streamer. He'll definitely end up on one of our streaming episodes. This week, I'll just go ahead and roll on into it. This week, I'll start with my quarterback streamer, Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
Teddy,
I like that.
Teddy Two Gloves he's the guy once again. And it's not in Minnesota. It's not for 5 games in New Orleans.
Right.
It's with a good offense around him with CMC,
He's the
DJ Moore,
only person.
Curtis Samuel. He's the only one there. So he went 5-0 with the Saints last year when he took over for Drew Brees. They didn't really let him run the ball a lot because Sean Payton wanted to keep him safe because he didn't want Taysom Hill being his starting quarterback.
Right.
So he didn't have a lot of rushing, but the man threw 8 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. We're going to see him put up 300-400 rushing yards this year, which if you guys are in half point or full point PPR, or especially if you're in standard, that's another 10 touchdowns. It's like throwing 10 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, I love Teddy Bridgewater. He's a great streaming option. He's going to get the job done. He has good targets to throw to.
He's just a little injury prone.
Yeah.
And a lot.
But he proved last year within those 5 games, he can still do it. He can still
Oh
get the
no,
ball
I
down the
have
field.
I have no doubt in his skill whatsoever.
We just have to see him run.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have to keep him protected in Carolina, but I think they're going to definitely let him run the ball and scramble
Hmm.
a lot more than Sean Payton did.
Well, yeah, with that, not that good of a defense, he's going to be able to throw a lot in every game, I believe.
And having just great targets in CMC, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel.
Right.
He should do really good this year. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if him and Ian Thomas end up being best friends.
Ian Thomas would be a good option for him. I
You
know.
might see him on our streaming show one day.
I do believe he did like throwing to Jared Cook when he was at New Orleans, so we could see the same thing with Ian Thomas.
It's very possible.
Yeah, and my first streamer, I'm going with a defense, the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, mixing it up a little. I see.
Yeah, so they're going into week one facing a young, inexperienced Broncos offense. They're led by second year Drew Lock. I know you're iffy on him. Uh,
I'm more than iffy on him.
yeah,
Five game sample size. That's not enough for me to have an opinion on
right,
especially a quarterback in an offense
right,
like uh, Denver's, where they were rebuilding. He really only had Cortland Sutton and Philip Lindsay last
right,
year. Noah Fant was a rookie. I mean, he's got Jerry Jeudy back this year, but now Sutton not being on the field.
right. Yeah, with only having a five game sample size, Jadeveon Clowney, the new addition to Tennessee Titans defensive line, he's maybe not the same as he used to be, but he's going to love going against Drew Lock. He's going to put so much pressure. Their offensive line is not that good. He's going to be in the backfield and he's going to get in Drew Lock's face a lot. And without Cortland Sutton, they're going to have to rely on rookie Jerry Jeudy and second year tight end Noah Fant to make plays for them. I'm not saying they're not capable of doing it. I'm saying it's going to be a lot harder. And that Denver backfield is very questionable with, we don't know what's going to happen in the split between Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. So it's just making that much easier of making Tennessee an option for my defense.
I love that option.
Yeah, so I just they're just young. It's I just don't. Maybe they get it together.
Very
Yeah,
young. That is a young and inexperienced offense.
maybe they get it together come week 8 or so. Once everyone's healthy and they figured out that backfield and Drew Lock has, gotten some more. He's gotten, I'm not gonna say he's
More experience, more
yeah
gameplay, more
he's
game speed.
not used to
real.
it, but he's gonna adjust. I believe he wasn't too bad in college. He'll be able to adjust. It's just gonna take a little more time. But as far as week one, Tennessee Titans are gonna. I feel like they're gonna feast against them.
Maybe even, get you guys a defensive touchdown.
That would be great.
Like, just to elaborate a little more on like what a streamer is, you're looking for somebody that's going to go out there and get you like a tight end who's going to fall in for a touchdown, a defense who's playing a really bad offense and could score.
Get a couple sacks,
Yeah.
get some fumble recoveries and interception.
Because obviously you're not going to be able to stream the Vikings defense or
Right.
the Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah, these are people that are not being drafted or people that didn't have faith in them coming into the season. They dropped them because they heard, oh my goodness, he stubbed his toe at
or
training
they
camp.
gave up a bunch of points one game.
Yeah, so these are going to be guys that you're going to have faith in picking up that they're going to, produce for you guys.
Yeah, because if you're streaming, you're only really keeping them for a week, maybe two, if they have another good matchup the next week. But I
Right.
mean, usually at the end of the year, I have like 40, 50 different transactions just from streaming.
Right, exactly. And streaming doesn't mean, just waiver wire. You can get those trades too.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go out there, and especially if somebody's really struggling at a certain position and you're deep at that position, you could give them a piece that you do not care about, you don't
Right.
intend on starting, and it gets you a guy that's even better than a weekly streamer, a guy that you can play for the rest of the season. Please do that.
Right. Yeah, no, we highly recommend that.
I'm gonna jump into another streamer though
Go
for
ahead.
tight end, Greg Olson.
Great.
Now I know everybody's asking when is he gonna retire.
I mean, he's the Brett Favre of tight ends right now.
God, I don't even want to think about that. But Olsen landed in a really good spot with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Wilson targeted his tight end over 100 times last year.
That's
Seven
lot.
of those, 7 touchdowns. He threw the ball 513 times.
And
So if you look at it, like that's basically 20% of the time, roughly. A little bit less than 20%, but roughly 20% of the time he's targeting the tight end. And I don't see Disley taking that many targets. For everybody out there, no, Hollister he played 2 games. He
played
had
two
good
games. He did finish tight end 1, but
Yeah.
that's because he had Russell Wilson throwing him the ball.
Yeah. And as we know, Olsen's been a target hog
Yeah.
since for the last decade, honestly. I mean, he had a couple injury plagued seasons and stuff, but the man has been a target hog. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons at Carolina where he had over 100 targets.
Yeah.
He's not always the most reliable in the red zone, like never really finishing more than like 6 or 7 touchdowns.
Right.
But the man can stretch the field. The man can stiff arm you. The
And that's
man,
what you need.
like he can low key juke.
Yeah, and he's gonna go up and get that ball on that one-on-one in the goal line.
Yeah, he has to use a step ladder now, and they allow it because of his age. But it's just the new handicapping rules. You'll learn all about it after you see some Week 1 games.
Move away, Sonny.
Honestly, I just think him and Russell, they're gonna end up having a great connection. That's just gonna get better as the season
Oh yeah,
goes
Russell
on.
Wilson is gonna love having the vet at tight end. Definitely. He's like you said, he loves throwing over 100 times to the tight end, and I believe he's way better than Hollister or Disley.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
They're not even playing the same sport.
Yeah, and it's just for those of you guys that have Russell Wilson, be excited because now he just got even.
He finally
yeah.
has that tight end target.
Yeah, exactly, and
Not some fullback that they made a tight end.
exactly. All right, moving on to the next streamer. I have a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. How you feeling about that?
I mean, it's a run first offense, so it's definitely going to be week to week based on Jimmy Garoppolo. I would never own him on any of my teams.
Yeah.
But this is what we're talking about, guys, when we say he's perfect for streaming. Like, because you don't want your number one quarterback, especially if you're in your 2 QB league, to be somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
But for week 1, Bruno's about to tell y'all why he is a good streamer.
Yeah, this guy Garoppolo was successful, very successful against the division rival Arizona Cardinals last year with over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns in each game. So that's 2 games he had 300 yards, over 300. I want to say one of them he had 400 yards actually.
Yeah.
And still 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was over 400. He was really impressive against Arizona last year, stepping it up against the division rivals. It's
Right.
always a little more gritty when you're
Right.
playing the division rivals. You want to go out there and show out for the coaches, for the owners.
Exactly. And maybe he doesn't, repeat that first matchup against them. Maybe he doesn't go out and throw 300 yards. He is limited on receiving options. He does have Kittle, and he does have Mostert and Coleman coming out.
To be fair, he's had pretty crappy receiving options
Yeah.
since he arrived in San Francisco.
Right. Well, he had Debo to save him a few times. He doesn't have Debo this time.
He doesn't have him this week, but guys, go out there and get Kendrick Bourne off your waiver wire if you haven't already. I meant to say this earlier when you brought up Debo. Kendrick Bourne looked really good for them in the playoffs.
I've been hearing.
He's an athlete, guys.
I've been
He's
hearing
not
at
the
camp
best
he's been
receiver.
stepping up too.
Yeah, he's not the best receiver in the world, but he's an athlete. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Kittle gets 250 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's true. I
mean, it's George Kittle.
yeah, that guy's a monster. Oh my goodness. But yeah, and also the Cardinals didn't do anything to improve their defense.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they maybe made a free agency move here to get some depth pieces, but actually going out and getting a player that's going to make a difference on their defense,
No.
They invested everything in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, and with DeAndre Hopkins being on that offense, I think it opens up a lot more opportunity for points for them. So maybe that'll force Jimmy Garoppolo to throw more.
It'll have to, because I mean they're gonna definitely
He's gonna have to
roll
keep
out
up.
that air raid offense this year. They have the piece that they were missing last year. They tried the air raid at the beginning of the year. It didn't work for them. They transitioned.
Right.
But they have that DeAndre Hopkins now, so it's gonna be a high scoring game. So the Jimmy Garoppolo's gonna have to go out there and throw the ball, or they're gonna lose, like just straight up.
Yeah, that's true. Any other streamers for you?
My defensive streamer this week is the Philadelphia Eagles.
I love it.
They'll be facing my new favorite mascots, the Washington football team.
I wonder what they're gonna come out to. You think they're just gonna come out in like a big football?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll just give like little stress squeezer footballs to everybody and be like, until we figure out here. Despite losing both times to Washington last year, I still have Philly as my like streamer of the week for my defense. I'm not confident in Haskins throwing the ball at all. Like, he
Yeah,
doesn't
me
have a
either.
big sample in the NFL. The very
Yeah.
first game they threw him out there, the man threw 3 interceptions, and they just snatched him right back out. He's thrown just as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. And just not knowing what's going on in that backfield, like, I was so happy when they're like, all right, Antonio Gibson's our guy. And then at the last second, they're like, but Jerick McKinnon's starting.
He's the vet.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
so I don't have any confidence in their backfield right now until we see what's going on. Already, like, as I already said, I don't have any confidence in Haskins at all.
Well, all he
And
has is Scary Terry to
yeah,
throw
I was
to.
about to say, Terry McLaurin can't do it by himself, so I'm going to be playing Philly defense across all my platforms this week.
Yeah,
If like I actually play with the defense.
I think I have them in 2 of the leagues I'm in, and I'm very excited to see what they do against the
Oh, I
football
know I
team.
got them as the last pick of our draft in a standard league we're in, and then I picked them up off waivers when I didn't even draft a defense or a kicker in another home league.
Yeah, I know it very well could happen. They could have a defensive touchdown against Haskins.
Oh yeah, they had one against him last year.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
Yeah, but that wraps it up for me for streamers.
Yeah, I do have one more streamer, the tight end Eric Ebron. I know it's Ebron's first year with Pittsburgh.
Every time I hear his name, it just like sounds so sci-fi to me. I
Eric
don't know why.
Ebron.
Eric Ebron. Just like he's some alien,
Like
alien Eric Ebron or something.
But yeah, but yeah, it is his first year with the Steelers. They are playing the Giants though. The Giants finished in the bottom half in the league against tight ends last year, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I streamed quite a few tight ends against them last
yeah,
year.
exactly.
Them in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and he's gonna be utilized more than McDonald will. McDonald can't block at all.
No more Van Stance?
No, it's gonna be the Ebron shuffle.
I can dig it.
Yeah, so it's just gonna leave Ebron with plenty of opportunity for targets, especially in the red zone. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's where he feasts.
Yeah, Big Ben's gonna love that big target.
I mean, when he was the tight end 2, I mean, some people would say he was the tight end 1 in Indianapolis, but I think it was Jack Doyle.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jack Doyle was the one that was out there on the field. But Ebron in the red zone, this man is, I mean, he's like having Shaq in the end zone,
Yeah,
basically.
he'll definitely duck on you for that
Like,
ball.
yeah, he'll just come up, he'll box you out, he'll come down and just rip it out of your hands in
Yeah,
midair.
yeah, no. Roethlisberger's gonna love having him in the goal line option. Might just line him up 1-on-1 on the outside, just throw it out there, let you go get it.
Oh yeah, and that's gonna help with Johnson and Juju and Connor. Like, it's just all gonna bring that offense together, really.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Do you have any other notes?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think I'm pretty satisfied.
All right, Unit Gang, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. We appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to hit us up on Instagram with some last minute start sit questions if you guys have them.
Twitter as well.
Twitter as well at the Fantasy Football Units for Instagram, and Twitter it is at Fantasy Units.
Guys, we're also over on YouTube now. Our second episode's up over there. We're going to upload this one to YouTube, so go hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment.
Yes, please do. We would really appreciate it.
We're available on a lot of platforms now: Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Stitcher, etc., etc. And guys, if we're not on the particular platform that you listen to, I promise you we're just waiting for approval.
Yeah, just hold tight. We'll be there. But other than that, be well, Unit Gang.
Remember, come with us if you want to win.